Well, hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the best football show. I'm your host, Brian Baldinger, at Baldy NFL. Hope you're following me across all the social media platforms at Baldy NFL. You can find this daily podcast, or as often as I can do it, since I'll tell you where I've been and on the road. It's difficult to do every day. But you can find this, just download your free Odyssey app. Find the best football show, like it, subscribe to it, talk about it, comment. We welcome all the input possible. We're just trying to get better as we really have kicked off the 2025-26 NFL season. So let me just tell you what I've been doing. Today is Thursday, July 31st, last day of July, right? So I started last Friday in New York. And then Saturday, I was in New York as well. The Jets and Ravens in the same day. I started in the morning with the Jets practice. Got on my car, went down basically Route 1 through Philadelphia down to Baltimore. Saw the Ravens in the afternoon on Saturday afternoon. Went to Washington, D.C., got up, spent the day with the Commanders. Hot day, brutally hot day with the Commanders. Then I came back the next day, went to Baltimore, spent the whole day with Baltimore. Fully padded practice. Lamar was great. Joined us after practice. Really was full of life and a lot of interesting things to talk about. I mean, just interesting guy. I'll just leave you one quote here, and I'll tell you where else I've been. I asked him if he ever gets tired. He goes, not when I'm competing. I mean, just flat out, direct statement, not when I'm competing. And it seems like he's always competing. Guy doesn't fatigue. Now, it was hot as hell in Baltimore, actually Owings Mills, Maryland. Where they practice, where the practice facility is, the Palace there. And it was a lot like being in Pompano, Florida this time of the year. Got in a plane, flew to Cleveland, saw the Cleveland Browns on Tuesday. Good day. Unfortunately, they lost Martin Emerson Jr., their starting outside corner opposite Denzel Ward. They lost him for the season to an Achilles injury. Otherwise, it was Joe Flacco, it was Dylan Gabriel, and it was Shedeur Sanders. That was the pecking order at quarterback that day. Everybody wants to know about it. Talked to Joe Flacco for a while. I saw every single snap. We were out there for quite a while. Talked to Myles Garrett. I told Myles, I go, he's got a graveyard for all the quarterbacks he sacked. And I told him I was going to Pittsburgh, the next day. And he's like, yep, got to put Aaron Rodgers in the graveyard. Got to do it. So he's going to get a couple opportunities to do that this year. But I also told him, I go, look, back-to-back years, you've blocked kicks, important kicks. Blocked a kick against the Colts in 2023, blocked a kick against the Eagles last year, gave him a great opportunity to win that game. I said, you got to start putting kickers in the graveyard to keep doing this. So anyways, we had a good time. It was good. Visited with Denzel Ward, Jerry Jeudy. They got to get the quarterback thing straightened out, but it looks like it's Joe Flacco's job at this point. And then I drove to Latrobe yesterday, from Cleveland to Latrobe, and spent the day with the Steelers. Spent about 8-9 hours with the Steelers. It was the first padded practice. Got a chance to see Aaron Rodgers in action. Got a chance to see a really good physical practice that Mike Tomlin loves to put on during training camp. Aaron Rodgers said he hadn't seen tackling to the ground in training camp since Mike McCarthy he said maybe his first year of starting, 2006, 2007. So it's been a while. It's been, quite a while since he's seen that, but that's what you saw yesterday. Came back to Cleveland last night and getting ready to head to the Hall of Fame game here in about an hour. So I'll be out there on the field, Tom Benson Memorial Field out there, leading all the way up until the kickoff tonight. So that's my travels. That's where I've been. I've got a lot to get to. I'm leaving here first thing in the morning, get to the Giants, get to the Dolphins, the Saints, the Falcons, the Bears, the Vikings, and the Eagles, all before the first full official week of preseason games where I will analyze all the games at our LA studio. So I've been on the road, and it's been fun. And everybody does it a little bit different. I'll tell you one thing. I saw this from the Eagles last year, and it was a big part of their success. There's a guy named Charles Tillman, played for the Bears for a long time. I mean, he's the all-time leader in forced fumbles in this whole business, okay? And he he coined something called the peanut punch. His nickname was Peanut Tillman, and he called it the peanut punch. And last year, Nick Sirianni really drilled that play into everybody on the Eagles. And they watched that video. They practiced it. Everybody practiced it. Offensive players, defensive players, because let's face it, if Jalen Hurts gets the ball knocked out of his hands and somebody on defense picks it up and they start running, maybe an offensive player can punch it out. So everybody, special teams, offense, defense, everybody in Philadelphia does the peanut punch. And they had, it was either 12 or 13 takeaways in the postseason, which tied a record in 4 postseason games, including the Super Bowl win, including 4 peanut punch forced fumbles. I see that drill now. Every team. I saw the Steelers yesterday do that drill for like 10 minutes in an individual period. Kevin Stefanski called me out in the middle of the field during practice to show me how the offense is working on that drill, and including the defense. I saw the Eagles at an OTA practice where everybody was doing that. I feel like that's a drill, especially where guys are limited by how many times they can be in full pads and physical practices and all that kind of stuff. I feel like everybody is now practicing the peanut punch. So shout out to Charles Tillman. I'm going to be in Chicago, like I said, in a couple of days. I'm going to let everybody in that organization know just what that play, what he had done. I think he had over 50 forced fumbles in his career. And I think on 3 different occasions, up to the top of my head, I don't have a stat sheet in front of me. The top of my head, I think he led the league in forced fumbles 3 different times. So I see that drill across the league. So the last time I talked to you, we were talking about the AFC West, and we saved the best for last. I mean, everybody is in the AFC, not just the AFC West, but everybody is still looking up at Kansas City. Now, they get to another Super Bowl last year. It's a disaster. They don't score a point until the very end of the third quarter. It's 34-0 when they get on the board. Now, they scored 3 touchdowns. Xavier Worthy gets a couple. They scored, but it was too little too late. So, but I think that organization is driven by a disappointing and ugly playoff loss. And if you think about it, when Tampa beat them in the playoffs, I don't know, Tom Brady's year, was that 5 years ago, whatever it was, they completely rebuilt their offensive line the next year. Andrew Wiley came in, Allegretti, like they just rebuilt the offensive line. Drafted, I think, Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith, and they got that thing fixed. So last year in the Super Bowl, the offensive line failed them. And look, they had a Band-Aid over there. They put Joe Thuney out at left tackle, and they had a free agent in at left guard, and it blew up in the Super Bowl. Milton Williams and Josh Sweat, and they had their way, right? So if you look at Kansas City right now, they got to get that fixed, okay? They draft Josh Simmons, okay, at the bottom of the first round. In fact, there's a trade with the Eagles, all right, and they get Josh Simmons. Now, Josh Simmons played 4 or 5 games before he tore his patella tendon last year. He's fully healthy. He's out there. I hear he looks good. I haven't seen him. I've not seen Josh play, just kind of what I hear. But they had to get that position fixed. They've been drafting left tackles for 3 straight years. Wanye Morris, all these different guys they've drafted, and it hasn't worked out. So last year they drafted a left tackle at BYU. He's now at left guard, Simmons at left tackle, and then you get Juwan Taylor, Trey Smith, and Creed Humphrey. If that group is good and they stay healthy, I think Kansas City, again, is the team to beat because Spags is going to do his thing. I was around George Karlaftis this year at the SAC Summit in Las Vegas. He just got an extension. Chris Jones is just stone cold Jones. He's still doing his thing. They're still going to be a very good defense. They're going to be good on third downs. They're going to be good in pressure. You think about that game in the playoffs against the Houston Texans last year. They sacked C.J. Stroud 9 times. They hit him 13 times. And right after the game, the Texans fired their offensive coordinator. Like they just weren't going to put up with that anymore. But that's what Spags can do to people, and that's what Kansas City's defense can do to you. But the question right now really is at wide receiver. Rashee Rice, is out right now. Hollywood Brown is down, like at least temporarily, for a little bit. Xavier Worthy, I hear, is banged up. I mean, they need more out of the receiving core. Travis Kelce had a down year, and he led him in receiving. Look, Tyreek Hill isn't walking through that door. They need this group to be good, to step up. They need the explosive plays, out of the passing game. And so I think it's going to be a very difficult division. Kansas City has won it. Is it 8 years in a row with Mahomes, 9 years total? Alex Smith got one. I think they're going for a decade of dominance. A decade of dominance here. I believe I'm right. Like I said, I don't have a stat sheet in front of me. But look, as good as they have been, Andy Reid is still there. Okay. Dave Tobe is still coaching special teams. Spags is still the defensive coordinator. I mean, they're not getting the offensive line coach is the same. I mean, they've got, for as good and dominant as they've been, they haven't lost coaches. Okay. And so when they do, Matt Nagy comes back after his stint in Chicago. He comes back to Kansas City. You leave the nest, you come back to the nest. And so Andy's always looking to take care of guys. Spags' first year in Kansas City there, I remember, he was out of football for a year. He spent every Monday that year out of football at NFL Films. And I'm up on the third floor. He'd come up and visit. He'd visit Greg Cosell on the second floor. I mean, he was just studying. And then he went to Kansas City, that year after the year out. And his wife, Maria, stayed in Philadelphia. And that was tough on Steve. She ran a hair salon, West Philly, and, they were separated, and they don't have kids. Like when Spags, got Maria to move out there, I think he became a lot happier, a lot more, like most men or women, when you're separated from your spouse, it gets difficult. And so, Spags is locked in. I don't understand why he hasn't gotten another chance as a head coach. But if you think about, like, the Detroit Lions have had success in Detroit. Now, they haven't gone past the NFC Championship game. But, they've had a lot of success. They win 15 games last year, the most in the league. They get both coordinators, Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson, both plucked, and a bunch of assistant coaches. And so we'll see. Kevin Shepard, they've got the guys in place to replace him, but we'll see. I think it's more difficult to replace good coaches than good players in a lot of cases. But Kansas City has had that formula. They've had great stability at that organization from the very top, from the owner, Clark Hunt, to the general manager, to the head coach, to the coordinators. I mean, they've had tremendous stability. I saw J.C. Kelce in the offseason, and he said his brother was back in Boca Raton. He was training this offseason, where he trained when he first started in this league, and just wanted to get himself in the best possible shape, maybe drop a few lbs, get ready for the grind of the season and have a great season. One where he catches more touchdown passes, longer average per catch, all that stuff. But they got to get the receiving core, I think, figured out. I think the offensive line is going to be fixed. They're going to be the team to beat. And that kind of leads me into tonight. Because, folks, tonight, I'm going to be on the field, Tom Benson Hall of Fame field in Canton, Ohio. I'm leaving to go to Canton as soon as I finish this podcast here today. I'm doing a show. In fact, Kevin Mawai and Warren Sapp's already hit me up. Hall of Famers. They got over 100 Hall of Famers in Canton this weekend. In addition to inducting 4 new players, I'm excited, really excited for Sterling Sharp. I worked with Sterling at NFL Films and NFL Network for, 7 or 8 years. Easily the most talented guy I've ever worked with. And I've been in this business for 30 years. Easily the most talented, most fun guy to be around. Very happy for Sterling. My former teammate Eric Allen going into the Hall of Fame. Jared Allen's going. I mean, it's going to be a good group. But we're going to see a lot of those guys. But tonight, the Chargers and the Lions kick off. I forgot. I didn't mean to forget Antonio Gates also going in. In fact, he played college basketball right here at Kent State. I think I actually passed Kent State. I might be wrong. I think I passed Kent State on my drive from Cleveland to Canton. So anyways, shout out to Antonio Gates. But anyways, tonight, the official 2025 season gets kicked off. with the Lions and the Chargers. You're not going to see Jared Goff or, we're not going to see the starters. We're not going to see Rashawn Slater out there. We're not going to see Justin Herbert. But, it's going to be a great opportunity for a lot of younger players that are trying to make both squads to get another preseason game in and to get some live reps. So I'll probably be in the end zone when this thing gets kicked off. I'll probably do a Baldy's breakdown on the kickoff tonight, just welcoming everybody to NFL preseason. It officially kicks off tonight, and then opening week of preseason for the rest of the 30 teams is next weekend. I believe Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I mean, almost every day next week. I'll be in Los Angeles breaking down the weekend games at NFL Network. Look forward to doing that. That's going to be it for this Best Football Show. I can't tell you what I'm going to see you next because I'm on the road and I'm on the go. Like I said, I'll be at the New York Giants tomorrow. I can't wait, honestly. Land in Newark, going straight to practice. And can't wait to see that rookie class, Abdul Carter and, Cam Scatterboo, the whole group. Can't wait to see all of them. And I can't wait to actually talk to you real soon, to everybody here on the Best Football Show. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Follow me at Baldy NFL, and I'll talk to you soon.